So many people tell me that I look like a teacher, so I thought what better to do than come dressed as a primary school teacher, apparently. Because today we are unboxing, no I'm only joking, because apparently that's just what I look like. Hello beautiful souls and welcome to another video. I'm really excited to have you guys here, and if you're new, thank you so much for joining. It's so lovely to have you joining our spiritual community as we grow and learn together. So if you'd like to join us, just click the subscribe button to become part of our community. We're going to be talking about what the different types of soul plan readings are that you can experience and how they can help you. And honestly, this is just really exciting to share this with you because some of you may be familiar with it, some of you it may be completely new. So I'm really excited to share this. So let's get started. So everything you need will be timestamped below, so it's nice and easy for you. So if you've already had one of the different types of readings, you can skip to any of the others to see how they can help you and what they are. But if you've never heard of soul plan before, or if you haven't had any of the readings before, then I invite you to just start at the beginning and work your way through, just to tune in and see which one would really call for you and resonate with you for what you're going through at the moment and how it could really help you. So if you are completely new to soul plan, then it is a life purpose analysis system channeled in the 1970s and 80s by Dr. Frank Alper and then extended in the early 2000s by Blue Marsden. And there are 22 energies within soul plan, and your soul chooses which of those 22 energies to work with and embody and to really channel and bring to earth in this lifetime. And I love soul plan because it's just so accurate. Every time I look at a chart, either for, you know, a TV character or somebody who's just recently passed over from the celebrity world, or from any of my family members, or even with my clients, it's always accurate, it's always spot on, and it's so straightforward and it's so detailed, which I really love. You don't have to know the time of birth, you only need to know your birth name. So that really brings us to our first type of soul plan reading, and it's the one to really start with, and that is birth name readings. And birth name readings are important because firstly, your birth name chart is going to be your dominant chart throughout your life. So it's really your soul's initial and original intentions for this lifetime. What did it want to learn? What did it want to share with the world? What did it want to achieve or grow from? Or how did it want to expand and grow as a soul? And then what did it want to really embody and bring as its kind of main destiny or purpose in this lifetime, which is so beautiful to connect with. And therefore we always start with that birth name. So even if you come for any of the other readings, I always would invite you to consider having a birth name reading first, or to consider combining to have your birth name at the same time as some of the other readings we'll talk about today, because that's really going to give you this foundation to understand what your soul really wanted from this lifetime. And it's so interesting because so many people will say to me, well, I don't use my birth name, or I don't like my birth name. And if that applies to you, then that's completely fine, because firstly, looking at your soul plan chart actually can help you to fall in love with your name, because you recognize the energies that your soul chose to work with and embody are just so beautiful. It just have so much to give and so much healing or teaching or sharing or something amazing, something creative that they can share. And when you tune into the energies, it can make you fall in love with that name and who you originally chose to come here to be. So I think there's something really beautiful about that. And if you don't use your birth name, then again, sometimes it can help you to tune in. Sometimes if you don't use your birth name, you can feel a little bit scattered or a bit lost, and maybe not really feel in tune with your identity. So it can be really important to tune into that, to really tune back to your roots, your soul, your core, if you like. And if you're somebody who has, for whatever reason, decided that you don't want to have that birth name anymore and you've legally changed your name, then tuning into your birth name can be very healing. It can actually really help you to understand what went on, why you chose that name, what was the purpose of it, what kind of healing it was bringing for you. So you may only have your birth name for a short period of time because for whatever reason there's a change to your name. So for example, if you were born and then at the age of 4 your parents changed your name for whatever reason, then that birth name is still going to be your dominant chart, your original soul's intentions. However, you will have a very strong overlay. So if you're looking to have a soul plan reading, absolutely I would encourage you to start with a birth name reading. It's just going to really help you to understand your original intentions, your original challenges, which is really important because obviously we come here to clear, to heal, to maybe clear some karmic or some ancestral things. And so in order to do that, you need to understand what those intentions were. So that's why a birth name chart can be really important. And also it can just bring you so much clarity and confirmation and confidence and empowerment. And even if you have the reading and then decide you no longer wish to use that name, or you're going to stick with the name you have, or anything like that, that's fine, because you've still received that healing and that reconnection to understanding your soul's intentions. So that's really beautiful. And I would say if you're somebody who doesn't like your birth name, or doesn't use your birth name, or has changed your name through marriage or any other form of legal change, then the next option for you, and the second type of reading you can have, is called an overlay reading. And overlay readings basically stand for any kind of name change and how that overlays your birth chart and what energies that new chart brings in to infuse or to impact or to empower your birth chart. It can be a multitude of things. So for example, your birth name could be a very intuitive and sensitive chart, and maybe your overlay name, your name change, brings you some resilience or some inner strength to really help you as you're learning to master that sensitivity and turn it into your gift, right? To become that gifted empath and share that, or that healer, to share that with others, or just to use that for yourself even. So any kind of name change would be an overlay reading. So if you already have a name change, whether that's legal or whether it's something that you always use, then I would definitely encourage you to consider having an overlay reading first, because in that overlay reading you can have a birth name reading and your overlay reading at the same time. So that can be quite useful. So if you've been married, or if you have just chosen to change your name, then you can look at your birth chart, look at your overlay name, see how they infuse, see what they bring, see how maybe your original intentions have expanded or grown because of this married name or this name change that you've had, which is really exciting. So definitely, if you don't just use your birth name, or if you have been married or changed your name, then I would invite you to think about the overlay, because it makes so much more sense to do it all in one go and to really tune into it and really understand it, unless you really want to come into a healing space with your birth name and make peace with it for whatever reason, in which case having a reading just for that can be really beautiful, and then you can look at an overlay. So the way you can do it is either having a birth name reading on its own, or having a birth name and an overlay reading at the same time, or having a birth name reading and then in your overlay reading you can also look at your birth chart, just to, you know, remember anything from that first reading, and then go into your overlay names. And I usually offer 2 to 3 maximum for overlay names, so for any name changes. There may be other options with other practitioners, but if you have changed your name multiple times for whatever reason, then definitely an overlay reading will be just amazing for you. So many people do change their name, so many people don't use their birth name, so overlay readings can be really amazing for that. And within overlay readings, something that we offer is a name optimization reading, which is essentially if you are perhaps getting divorced, or if you are looking to legally change your name, or if you're about to get married, or even if you're just working on, you know, releasing a project or a business or something, and you're trying to find the best name to use for that, then name optimization is brilliant for that. So let's say that you're about to get married and you are considering whether you should take your partner's name or whether you should double barrel your name. That would be a form of name optimization. Do you take your partner's name? Do you double barrel your name? Or do you keep your own surname? Which is, of course, any of those options are totally up to you, and it's really great to see what new energies will come in from those potential name changes. So that can really help you in that respect. If you are getting divorced, perhaps you are thinking about whether you would like to take back your maiden name, or maybe you'd like to choose an entirely different surname, something that feels good, something that reflects this new journey in your life, in which case you could look at which of those names would be good for you to tune into. So that's another form of name optimization. And then you can also do name optimization for any kind of business launch or anything like that. A lot of business coaches don't use their married name because they want to connect with their energy alone when they're sharing their business, right? They want to be completely just embodying themselves rather than embodying the energies that their partner from their married name brings in, unless of course that married name brings in some energies that really align with the intentions of the business or the project or whatever you're working on. So that's where name optimization can be really helpful for just really understanding what energies are coming in with each name, and then being able to pick the one that's most aligned for what you're working on. So that is another really exciting reading that you can have through Soul Plan. The next type of reading that you can have is a business name reading. This is one of my favorite things to do with clients. I absolutely love offering business name readings. I just think think it's fascinating to tune into and to understand the energies of the name of your business or project or product, and what those energies mean aligning to what the intentions of the business are, for example. So business name readings can be shorter than other readings unless you have lots of options, but I usually again limit it to about 3 business names. And you can either have a birth name reading first and then come back for a business name reading, and we can just go over your birth name to reiterate and remember certain things about it and to see how it aligns with, or you can have all of it at the same time. So we can go through your birth name and then we can bring in the business name option. So it's entirely up to you what feels most aligned, because for some people they'd rather just tune into their birth chart, really go into the depths and totally understand it, and then come back for the business name reading. And for other people, they're like, no, I'm happy to do everything in one go because I really love it. And that's probably going to be like a 12-3, to be honest with you. 12-3s will be like, yep, no, give it to me. And same with 20 and 2s, to be fair, like, yep, let's have it all, let's go for it, I'm ready. With a business name, you are obviously looking for it to have an alignment with the energies. So for example, if you have a business focused on healing, then you're going to want to focus on bringing a 10-1 or a 9-9 in, for example. If you are doing a travel company, then you might want 20 and 2 or 18-9. Or if you are doing an art business or a creative business, you might want a 6, you might want a 9, you might want a 15-6, maybe even a 14, something like that. So it really depends on what your focus is. Let's say you're doing events management, definitely you would want a 7-7 in that, maybe even an 8-8. So these can be really useful things to consider when you're looking at the business name, that it's really important that the energies align with what the intentions and the focus of the business are. And I always say as well, it's really important that the business name actually shares what it is that you're doing. Something I often use as an example with my clients when we do business name readings is, for example, if you're moving into the spiritual realm and the spiritual business, then you are probably going to like words like soul and heart and all these beautiful things, right? And the example that I often use is mystic rainbow, right? We love the word mystic, modern mystic, and rainbows are beautiful. And so combining those, you're like, oh, mystic rainbow, that sounds lovely. But does that really tell your client base what you're doing and what your business is? No. Whereas if you change it to Mystic Rainbow Healing or Mystic Rainbow Coaching or Mystic Rainbow Reiki or something like that, then that's going to tell the client what it is that you're doing. And so it's really important to not only have the right energies, but also to have the actual name that you're sharing mean something to people so that they immediately know, and then they're more drawn to it, and it makes your marketing much easier, right? So I've just upgraded my business name to Soul Alchemy Mentoring, because I'm working with your soul, I'm helping you to alchemize things, change things and transform things within and around you on that mental, emotional, physical, spiritual level. Then we are doing mentoring, right? I'm mentoring you. I'm not going to heal you because you heal yourself. I just create the space and bring in anything that might support you as you're doing this. So that's why I chose that business name. Plus the soul plan energies worked really nicely. They really aligned with what I was intending, so it worked really nicely. And yes, I went through so many different ideas when I was tuning into that. So I really enjoyed doing the business name readings. So if you're interested in that, if you're launching a product or a business or anything that has to have a separate name, then absolutely I would invite you to come for a business name reading. And certainly as well, even if you're using your own name, you know, like I use my own name on YouTube, looking at that, what energies is that bringing in? So it's really, honestly, just fascinating to me how in depth you can get with this and how you can really tune into and understand this. So the next type of soul plan reading that you can have is a relationship reading, and I think this is really beautiful, and there are different types of relationship readings that you can have. So the main focus might be on healing, for example. Maybe you have a very difficult relationship with your mother or your father or your sister, for example, and so we can look at both of your soul plans and understand what's going on. Sometimes that can really help actually, because it can help you to have compassion and love towards that other person, right, on a soul level. And then at the same time, it can just bring you a lot of peace of mind and a lot of clarity and help you to understand, you know, I was bringing this out in her and she was bringing this out in me. So it's really interesting actually to understand that. And very often you'll find within families that obviously there is a connection. There's at least one energy usually in connection with family members, and that's because obviously they're your intended close unit to teach you and to help you to grow, and vice versa. So that can be very healing, and that can be something that you can do either on your own own if you want to try and bring some healing into that space around that person, or it can be something you can do with that person. You can think of like a family therapy session, which obviously that will depend how your relationship is and how open you both are and what's going on in your lives, but that's certainly something that's a really beautiful thing to come into. Anything like that, it can just be really healing to come in and understand that. It can also be great. Another version that you can do is when you're getting married, and actually that can be a really beautiful gift for somebody who's getting married, is for them to see how their birth charts link up, and then again, like what's going to come through what's going to come through if one of you decides to change your name. So that can be really beautiful to tune in and have like a wedding gift for yourself, really, to see what energies do we have that are in common already, and how are those energies going to evolve if we change our names when we get married, and how are we going to grow, what we're going to support each other, and what can we bring for one another. So that can be really beautiful. Another type of relationship reading is actually if you're going into business with somebody, or if you're collaborating with somebody. Let's say you're co-authoring a book, or you're running a podcast together, or you're setting up something together. Then whether there's 2 or 5 of you, you can have a relationship reading and look at all of your charts together and see which person is going to bring in this, which person is going to bring in that, who's naturally going to be good at marketing, or who's naturally going to be good at healing, or who's naturally going to be good at networking. So you can really look at those and see what you're actually going to bring in, because even though we might know quite well what we think we're good at, it can be really good to see on an energetic level what it is that we're really good at. And in that session, you can also bring in the business name or the product name that you're working on, or podcast name, or whatever it is, and look at that name as well. And so you can really choose a business name that aligns with both your charts and both your energies, that really embodies both of you, rather than it just aligning with one of you, for example, because that might not be as affluent for you perhaps. So that can be a really exciting thing to do, to have a business and relationship reading to understand as you go into business or into a project with somebody. That can be really exciting. And the next type of soul plan reading is baby name readings. So this is, I think, something that's really sweet and just feels really quite sacred actually about soul plan, because obviously babies are just these new souls coming in. And when I say new souls, I mean they're new on earth. I don't mean that they're new. Sometimes there's some really old souls that come through. It gives you an opportunity as a parent or a guardian to understand what the energy is that's coming through with this child. What is their focus? What is their challenge? So let's say they could be quite shy. That could be quite good for you to know, to help to support and encourage them as they overcome their shyness. Or maybe they naturally will have an affinity to healing, or to writing, or to art, or to business. And so you can help support them in that if that's something they're drawn to. Obviously, if they're drawn to something completely different, then of course you can still support them in that. But understanding what they're naturally and innately good at, and what their soul's goals are, and who they're here to be, is beautiful, because you can really nurture them as a parent or a guardian into really stepping into that space, if they would like to do so. Of course, you know, we always leave room for free will and for just the person to be able to express themselves, but it's nice because you can just be more nurturing, I think, as well. Also, you can, within baby name readings, bring in a relationship reading. So you can bring in both parents and you can look at their charts and the baby's charts and see what energies you guys are working with as a family, which is so exciting. So it's like a relationship and a baby name reading, which is really beautiful, where you can look at, okay, maybe one parent is really going to bring in just so much love and knowledge, whereas another parent is going to bring in a load of intelligent, logical, practical mindset, which is going to be so beautiful for the child. Maybe the child has a challenge in one of those and a goal in another one, so you're all going to be able to help and work together to really move through that. So I just think that's something that's really sacred and really beautiful to offer for these innocent souls as they come here and they embark on their journey. So again, that's another beautiful aspect of soul plan readings. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video and you have found it really helpful for tuning into and choosing which soul plan reading you would like to tune into and book in for and to receive and experience, and how it can help you on your journey, or how you can even gift it to other people. I actually have a lot of people who gift soul plan readings to friends or family or colleagues because they've enjoyed their own reading with me, and then they want to gift it to somebody else. So that can be something beautiful. If you're interested and you would like to find out more, or you'd like to book in a reading with myself, then just follow the links in the descriptions. And if you would like to work with somebody in person, or somebody who's in the same time zone as you, then just reach out to me and I can put you in contact with a practitioner who is nearby to you. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, let me know with a thumbs up or by leaving a comment below, and I will see you in next week's video. Here's where I find out I didn't put the mic on. I did. I have teacher vibes. I think I do, which makes complete sense since I'm a soul plan teacher, so I'm okay with that. Do I look more like a primary school teacher than a soul plan teacher? Maybe. But I am definitely a soul plan teacher. Then I would definitely encourage you and Another type of relationship